What if the place meant to protect you became your worst nightmare? The haunted walls of Black Hollow Police Station whisper the secrets of those who never escaped, and they're waiting for their next victim. Black Hollow Police Station had been abandoned for nearly 2 decades, sitting like a forgotten tomb at the edge of a dying town. The station wasn't just closed, it was sealed. Rumors swirled of unnatural deaths, officers disappearing into thin air, and ghostly whispers that kept locals far away. Detective James Cole didn't believe in ghost stories, but he had no choice. A new lead had surfaced about the station's final case, forcing him to confront a place that no one dared to enter. Tasked with uncovering the truth, he brought along rookie officer Sarah Blake, whose eagerness clashed with the building's ominous reputation. As they stepped inside, the heavy doors creaked shut behind them, locking out the light of the outside world. Dust hung thick in the air, and the faint scent of burnt paper lingered. The walls seemed to hum with an unnatural energy, as if the building itself was alive and watching. James and Sarah found old case files scattered across the floor, as though someone had ransacked the station in a panic. Among the chaos, they discovered strange chalk markings on the walls. Blood doesn't wash away, and the innocent remember. The words seemed to pulse faintly, almost as if they were alive. As Sarah reached for a dusty file marked "Case Closed," the lights flickered violently, and a phone on the desk began to ring. The handset was shattered, yet the ringing persisted, growing louder until it became an ear-splitting shriek. When it stopped, they heard faint whispers. "Get out, before it's too late." But James was determined to uncover the truth. He pulled the case file open, revealing a chilling story. 20 years ago, a man named Victor Kane was wrongly accused of murder and executed in the station's basement. The officers who carried out the execution were later found dead under mysterious circumstances. Black Hollow Police Station was abandoned soon after, left to decay along with its dark secrets. As the night dragged on, the station seemed to come alive. Filing cabinets slammed shut on their own, shadows flickered where there was no light, and the temperature plummeted. Sarah swore she saw movement in the interrogation room, a man's silhouette staring at her through the two-way mirror. When she entered the room, it was empty. Suddenly, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the station. They weren't alone. James and Sarah followed the noise to the holding cells, where they found a lone cell door swinging open and shut. Inside, the name Victor Kane was scratched into the walls, over and over again. A cold wind swept through the station, carrying with it the sound of anguished screams and metallic chains dragging against the floor. The lights flickered off, plunging them into darkness. James's flashlight beam landed on Sarah, but her eyes widened in horror. Behind him stood a tall, shadowy figure with hollow eyes and chains wrapped around its wrists. The spirit of Victor Kane loomed over them, its face twisted with rage and pain. It pointed at James, its voice echoing like thunder. "You brought me here! Now, you'll suffer like I did." Sarah screamed as the ghost lunged toward James. He barely dodged, but the spirit's chains lashed out, shattering a nearby window. James and Sarah fled deeper into the station, but every corridor seemed to lead them back to the execution chamber. Inside, they found an old journal on a dusty table. It belonged to the station's former captain, who had documented the haunting. The final entry read, "The station is cursed. Victor Kane's soul cannot rest. He feeds on guilt and fear. Destroy the chamber, or the station will consume us all. Determined to end the nightmare, James grabbed a fire axe from the wall and swung at the chamber's equipment. The spirit of Victor appeared, screaming in fury as it tried to stop him. Chains wrapped around James's arms, pulling him toward the execution chair. Sarah, with trembling hands, ignited an old gas canister she found in the corner. The fire roared to life, engulfing the room. Victor's anguished screams filled the station as his shadow dissolved into the flames. James and Sarah barely escaped, coughing and stumbling into the cold night air as the station burned to the ground behind them. In the weeks that followed, James and Sarah struggled to move on. The station was gone, but the guilt lingered. One night, James found a charred piece of paper on his desk. It read, "Justice isn't enough." When he looked up, he saw his reflection in the window. But the face staring back wasn't his own. It was Victor Kane, and he was smiling. Some places don't forget, and some souls never forgive. Black Hollow Police Station may be gone, but its echoes will haunt anyone who dares to disturb its restless dead.